What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing celebrity boxing and kickboxing skills. But today I want to look at their real skills, the skills that actually have when they're in the gym hitting pads, break down what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, give them a star rating out of 5, and then at the end tell you which celebrity has the best boxing skills. Now, I had one of my buddies, one of my training partners, send me over some clips that he gathered together that he sent me. I have not looked at these yet, and I'm just looking at the celebrities we are going to be reviewing today. So we have Chris Hemsworth, Idris Elba, Jake Gyllenhaal, Justin Bieber, Michael Phelps, oh that guy's an athlete, maybe he'll be pretty good, Snoop Dogg, Tom Hardy, and Will Smith, who obviously must have some boxing skills since he portrayed Muhammad Ali in the motion picture Ali. So guys, let's roll the intro and get into reviewing these celebrities' skills. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Gabriel Varga. I'm a 6-time pro kickboxing world champion. I've had some MMA fights, but mostly focused my entire career, which started professionally in 2009 as a pro kickboxer. I have fought for Glory Kickboxing, Bellator, many of the promotions over in China, which are super high level. And most recently, I have signed with Karate Combat. Now, you can check out some of my belts behind me. These are the ones I've won throughout the duration of my career. And hopefully I'll have 1 or 2 more to add before I retire and move on from competitive career. And on top of all that, I have been involved in martial arts. I started martial arts when I was about 8 years old. So I have a lifetime of experience in karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, and boxing. I have a lot of knowledge. It's my area of expertise. So let's dive in and break down these skill sets of the celebrities. And let's let it be said, first of all, that if a celebrity does not have awesome skills, I'm not trying to break them down and go, oh my gosh, this person's terrible. This is not what they do. This is just something like me as a pro fighter trying to take on a little side thing as an actor. It's not something that I'm going to be spectacular at, so I don't want to be too critical of these guys. I will point out what they're doing wrong, but it's not meant to come across as negative. I like keeping things positive. I like being polite. So let's start off and let's first look at the skills of Jake Gyllenhaal. Get this going here. Jake Gyllenhaal, I believe, had a role where he was featured in something called Southpaw. I think I might have seen that movie, but I can't actually remember what he looked like in the motion picture, if his skills were very good. Sometimes just changing angles, doing little snippets of somebody punching, then changing angles, it can give the illusion that they know what they're doing when they really don't. So that's why I want to look at the real skill set here. So let's start off and check out him. He's banging away on a kicking shield that kind of looks like. I want to see that one more time. I don't love his hand positioning. His punches don't look super powerful. One more time for good measure. I think his elbows are a little bit too tight. He doesn't rotate his shoulders quite enough. Let's move on to one more clip here. Yeah, you can see as he's throwing, it looks like it's just a tiny bit, maybe even sped up there, but you can see he's very rigid. And that is one of the things that most people will struggle with when they're trying to move into kickboxing, or Muay Thai, some sort of fight sport. You'll see them try to get their arms going and they manage to do that, but the whole rotation of the body is lacking. And that is something that takes a long, long time, and it's something that a lot of actors will struggle with. Overall, Jake Gyllenhaal's skills are not spectacular, in my opinion. I would say that out of 5, if we're giving him a star rating out of 5, I would give him a 2. He needs some more skills before I would move him up to even that intermediate sort of stage, that intermediate level. He's definitely still a beginner. He needs to work on just loosening up, but it's a good starting point, and it also shows you if he looks at all decent in the movie Southpaw. It just goes to show what angles and clips of somebody working can do to sort of present that they are actually good at the sport when they're really not. Next up, let's move into a little clip here of Justin Bieber. I've seen his name a number of times in Mayweather fight camps in the past. Once again, very rigid. You see when he throws his crosses, which means his right hand is going, his right hip is not taking the lead. That is no good. Let's play that one more time. As he throws his hands, the other hand drops. So whenever you throw a hand out, the opposite hand should be tight to your head for protection, but you can see as he throws his right hand and he goes to load up, his left hand goes down to hip level. It will give that illusion that you're hitting harder which I suppose you really are. It's not an illusion, but it makes you feel very powerful, but at the same time you are compromising and exposing your defense. And that is something that anybody who does fight sports for fun, and they're not really doing any real sparring, they can be hitting the pads super hard, but forgetting that this hand, boom, boom, boom. This hand has to be up protecting so that you are not leaving that head exposed. So Justin Bieber, to me, looking a little bit rigid. I would give him about the same rating as Gyllenhaal, 2 stars out of 5. Not looking great. Maybe since this video has come out, he has improved. But if you got Floyd Mayweather holding pads for you and giving you tips, I feel like you should be pretty on point. So not great, what I'm seeing so far from him. Next, let's move on to Idris Elba. A big fan of this actor in the series Luther that he was in. Now, Idris Elba, very interesting story behind him. This is one of the guys, one of the few actors, maybe the only actor that I actually know of, that took a real fight, a real Muay Thai fight, and actually did a full training camp. There's a whole series that you can check out following his progression, learning and learning and learning. He actually had one of the best coaches in the world, Kieran Kettle, who used to live in England, but now actually lives in Canada, fairly close to me. I haven't actually seen Kieran since he was an announcer on the first K1 fight card I was ever on, but Idris Elba actually did a full training camp and actually took a real fight. So let's see what he looks like, because it's very odd for an actor to put himself in that position where he could actually get knocked out and actually get embarrassed. Most of those guys won't want to do that. So we got Idris Elba on the bag. Holy smokes, his legs, you can tell he's really training. His legs are so taped up. He has a knee taped up, he has ankle braces and something around the left foot, probably to protect from damage. And that's Kieran in the back there. All right, now I'm gonna start this over because I was distracted by all the protection on Idris's legs. Those right hooks look pretty good. Straight punches and that front kick don't look great. I mean, I don't know what point he's in his training session. Maybe he's exhausted. The straight punches are definitely stiff. His hooks look pretty sharp overall. Round kick, the low kick doesn't look bad. Decent showing there from Idris Elba. Definitely somebody who I would still consider a beginner. But if I had to give him a rating out of 5, I would go 3 out of 5. Definitely looking a little bit more solid than Justin Bieber and Jake Gyllenhaal. And he's incorporating the kicks. Let's remember, if you're only doing boxing, you have about this much to learn. That's the scope of the knowledge which you need to gain. When you move into kickboxing, it grows. It's like that big. And then when you move to MMA, there's so much to know. There's so much, that circle just becomes massive. So somebody like Idris Elba, taking on Muay Thai, he has the knees, the elbows, the kicks. It's that much harder to get really good at everything, as opposed to the previous guys we looked at where it looked like they were just working hands. So nice showing from Idris Elba. Next, I want to move on to Chris Hemsworth. Okay. Thor. Let's see what Thor can do. All right, he's got little MMA gloves, a decent high front kick there. I mean, his hands are splaying out a little bit, getting a little wide. Decent punches. Nice combination there. He's definitely more fluid than everybody else we've looked at so far. He's got good power. Hands are looking sharp. That round kick didn't look great. Let's look at that round kick one more time and see what happened there. He executes a full pivot. Couple things he did wrong is he bends his knee too much. He's dropping his weight as opposed to staying elevated. Also, he swings the arm down that matches the kicking leg, but the hand that should be protecting your head to the side swung in front, and it needs to stay off to the side. But other than that, Chris Hemsworth looking super solid. Not perfect, but pretty darn solid. Out of 5, I would give Chris Hemsworth a 4. He is looking pretty good. Keep in mind when I'm saying out of 5, I'm sort of giving like 5 on celebrity status. This does not mean these guys are pro, does not mean they're looking spectacular. I would say Chris Hemsworth, if I was just going into a gym and saw his skill level, I would say, okay, that's a decent intermediate guy. But 4 out of 5 for Chris Hemsworth. Very nice. Next, let's move into Michael Phelps. You guys should know who Michael Phelps is. If you don't, he's an Olympian, a swimmer who won, I don't even know how many gold medals. So many gold medals, I don't even know. Normally you would go, okay, the guy's won 3 or 4, that's incredible. This guy, I don't know if he has 15 or 20 or whatever. So let's see what a pro athlete can do. Here we go. Oh no, that's not what you want. That's not looking good at all. See that one more time. Everything's wrong about that. Like everything. Now keep in mind, this is just cross training for Michael Phelps. But yeah, technically everything is wrong. So that means that he's probably just using it for cross-training, but I'm not a big fan of doing cross-training and doing it incorrectly. I want to learn how to do things correctly, even for running for myself. When I go running, I want to learn the correct technique. I don't want to just go out there and hurt myself. So, you know, he's doing everything wrong. His hands were coming low, his chin was high, his balance was off, which is odd for an athlete of a super advanced skill level not being able to look as good as an actor. But I guess, like I said, he's not probably training with a really good striking coach, and just, yeah, everything's wrong. 1 out of 5 for Michael Phelps. Okay, next, let's move on. Who's next on my list? We have Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg does not look like he'd have the kind of build that would be very good for fighting. Doesn't look like a super sturdy guy. What do we have here? We've got Snoop Dogg actually sparring. Okay. He's pretty wild. The guy he's sparring with is just playing with him. But I'm going to look more at Snoop Dogg's technique. He's got the hand low. Defensively, from the outside, it looks like he knows what he's doing, but then when he starts throwing, it gets pretty wild and pretty ugly. I want to see that one more time. Kind of what I would have expected from him. A little lanky, a little off balance. When he throws, the punches are pretty loopy, not pulling them back to the head very well. Yeah, it's not spectacular, that's for sure. And he has a guy who's not even trying to hit him back. So yeah, let's go to a 2 out of 5 for Snoop Dogg on technique. Keep in mind, it's always more difficult to look good when you have somebody who's coming towards you, when you have somebody who's sparring with you. It's much easier to look good in shadow boxing, pads, or on the bag. So that was a disadvantage that Snoop Dogg had, but still the technique was looking a little bit sloppy and his balance looked fairly off. But again, he is not a professional fighter, so good for him for trying. Next, we are moving on to Tom Hardy. I can't remember what movie Tom Hardy was in. It was one of the early ones about MMA, and I remember it being a pretty decent movie. I don't remember anything about Tom Hardy's skills, and even though he's in a lot of action movies, I don't see him, or as much as I can recall for other actors, throwing a lot of punches. So let's see what Tom Hardy can do here. Oh, and we got Tom Hardy sparring. I'm surprised when I see celebrities sparring, and the guy's actually touching him. Like, not being too nice. Nice counter from him. This is not like crazy hard sparring, but they're actually sparring for real at least. Nice combo. Oh, and he rolled with that punch. He's taking shots. Throw him back. Wow, what a showing from Tom Hardy. I was not expecting that. I didn't think I was going to see anybody spar that hard as a celebrity. I want to watch that one more time. Let's roll through that again. Just getting tagged in there. And these guys are going, I mean, the guy he's sparring has decent skills there. I wouldn't say this guy looks like he's a good intermediate, his opponent. But Tom Hardy, I like how, I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised, he always plays kind of a gritty guy in movies. He looks like he's a gritty dude when he actually competes. He's taking shots, he's standing in the pocket, he's throwing back. That is super surprising. And that, for me, so far is a 5 out of 5. We gave Chris Hemsworth a 4 out of 5, but this guy's skill set is definitely far beyond. And like I said about Snoop Dogg, it is much harder to look good in sparring as opposed to on pads or bag work. So if Tom Hardy can look that good in a sparring session where somebody's actually trying to tag him, he will look far better when he does get on a bag or do some pad work. So he has the best skills that I've seen so far, and he's in the middle of sparring. So 100%, 5 out of 5 for Tom Hardy. And we are moving into Will Smith. This is the guy that I would think, with the movie that I saw playing Ali, would probably have the best skill set. Let's see what he can do and what we're looking at. We got Will Smith doing pad work. Looks like on a movie set. Throwing some fast hands. His elbows are staying pretty low. His punches are pretty jammed. I don't know if that's his fault or the trainers were whipping those pads in way too close to him. It's very jammed punches. Very, very jammed. Let's watch that again. Not looking like what I'd want to see for somebody who's playing Muhammad Ali, one of the best in the world. See this one more time. And that beginning combo there looked decent. The left hook looked decent, but then he starts letting his elbows get very low on those hooks. You don't want that. And those are just too jammed. Good speed. Speed is there, although the trainer is doing more work than him. No, I don't know if that's the trainer's fault or if that's Will Smith just not having great technique, but not spectacular. 3 out of 5. What you have to make sure you're doing when you do bag work, pad work, something like that, is you get good range out of your shots. If you're just throwing from here, that essentially means that your opponent is right here, right in your face. There's very few times where people get that tight. We want to lengthen out and we want to get good long shots going. And pad holders out there need to be very careful that they're not whipping their arms out, that they just do small motions and let the guy who is throwing the shots come to them. You have to just meet them at the end. But Will Smith, his elbows were super, super low and his cross was coming out just a little bit angled. Are we done there? I think that might have been everyone. Oh, no, definitely not done. I missed Tom Holland. Gotta watch Spider-Man, see what Spider-Man can do. All right, let's roll this final video. Here we go. Throw an upper hook cross. His body weight falls forward a little bit too much on those jab crosses. Shots are coming pretty wide. I mean, it's not terrible. Definitely not terrible. I want to see that upper hook cross again. Combo he kept throwing. His cross comes really low. That's odd. He hits. When he hits, he drops down. And they teach that in Thailand. You know, you hit the pad and you drop through just a little bit, but you definitely don't want your hands swinging down. The combos of 3 upper hook cross, it's not terrible. You can tell as he throws his right uppercut, as he throws it, his left hand pulls back to get ready for the left hook, which he knows is coming. That's something we don't want to do. It should be 1 hand tight to the head here, and then 2 hand tight to the head, and then 3. We don't want to go 1, 2, and 3 and finish low. But overall, he's throwing good power. His speed is decent. I'd probably like to see it just pick up a little bit. Right now, it's kind of like 1, 2, 3. And I'd like to see it more like 1, 2, 3. Because the more time between punches, the less chance there is your punch is going to actually land. But not terrible. Definitely not terrible. I would say a 3 out of 5 for Tom Holland. So let's talk very quickly about sort of the overall mistakes we end up seeing from celebrities or people who are starting off in a boxing career. You don't need to be competitive. Maybe you just want to go out, you want to box for fun. So some of the things that we see very often are shoulders are very rigid. People lock their shoulders in place and they punch with their arms, and especially when they throw their cross, they throw the backhand, the shoulder and the hip need to take the lead on the right, and then it needs to pull back. That's a big mistake that we often see. It's not just arms punching, it's whole body. So as I punch, my whole body swivels. This chair is perfect. I rotate from side to side and the arm follows the hips which lead. Also, we want to be very sure that when we throw a punch, the other hand stays super tight as opposed to dropping, especially when we're going for combos. We don't want to go left hook, right hook. We know we're throwing that, so we go 1 and 2. We pull back to gain power. That means you're exposed. You're going to get clipped eventually. Guys like Tom Hardy who are actually sparring know that, and you're going to see them be much tighter, much more crisp with their shots. So overall, the 2 guys I was most impressed with, 4 out of 5 for Chris Hemsworth, pretty good. Again, he's hitting a bag, so it's hard to get a real idea of what his actual skill set would be when somebody's throwing back. And clear winner, 100% clear winner, Tom Hardy, because he's actually sparring, his technique is best, and somebody's actually throwing shots back at him, which makes it so much harder. It's not even comparable against the other guys who are just, you know, throw. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about anything. When you have somebody throwing at you, it makes a world of difference. But overall, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed getting to see the celebrity skills and what I thought of them. Keep in mind, these guys are actors. They are not actual fighters, so their skill sets don't need to be crazy high. They have so many other things on the go, probably getting really good at acting, doing all the other things that come with that job. And if you guys did enjoy the video and you'd like to see another one, please give it a like so I know to make a second. If you guys haven't, join the channel, get subscribed. I don't just cover other people's skill sets. What we actually do on this channel is we do workouts, we do tutorials, mostly kickboxing. We talk about fight mindset. There's so many things that this channel actually covers. So if you would really like to see more videos, make sure you get subscribed, join the channel. It would mean a lot to me. As always, guys, train hard, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.